Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So on today's video I'm going to be giving you my Disney top tips for if you're visiting Disneyland Paris. We went at the end of May. We were there for 5 days and there are some things that I wish I knew or wish we knew before we went, and I thought it would be quite a good video just to give you some information about things that I would recommend to do after coming back and experiencing it recently, because we last went around, I want to say 10-11 years ago, and a lot has obviously changed since then, and I always feel like it's good to see it from someone's experience who has been, and just mistakes that we didn't know or information that we didn't realise until we were there that may help you when you go to Disney next. So I've got a list on my phone of all of the things that I would recommend doing, and I'm just going to tell you about them because I feel like it will be helpful if you've got an upcoming trip to Disneyland Paris. So my first tip is to make sure that you download the Disneyland Paris app before you go. It is so helpful. You literally have the map of the parks, restaurants, rides, queue times, everything is literally on that app. Queues for meeting characters, literally everything that you need is on that app, so I'd 100% recommend getting it if you are going. It also, one good thing I thought was when we were looking at restaurants, you could see the menu on the app, so you kind of knew what you were getting in instead of going in restaurants and then going, no, I don't fancy anything on that menu. Like, it literally gave you everything on your phone, so you could literally just search it up and then it would be there. Or like when I wanted to try Mickey Pizza, all I did was go onto the app, type where it said click on where it said restaurant, sorry, and then I typed Mickey Pizza and it literally come up with somewhere that I could go and get it that was close to me. So I'd recommend doing that. Like, it will literally just make your life so much easier. You won't have to worry about finding a map or asking anyone. Obviously there are people there to help, but that app is honestly a life changer, so I would recommend to do that. The second tip kind of rolls in with the Disney app, but some characters that you want to meet, you have to join a virtual queue. So like, I think there was the Marvel one where you meet a random Marvel character, the Star Wars where you meet a random Star Wars, Mickey Mouse in the main Mickey building, the princesses, and I think that was it. There are some characters that are dotted around the park that you don't have to join the virtual queue for. Like, we met Belle, Woody and Jessie, but with those ones I would 100% recommend getting there half an hour before. Like, Belle said to get there to join the queue for 2:30. I think we went an hour early because it was Chloe's favourite Disney princess, so we wanted to make sure we could get there. But like, the queue was ridiculous and everyone like came at like 2:30, and they obviously cut it off at a certain point because they can only see so many people. So I would recommend getting there at least half an hour early to save the disappointment of being turned away and not getting to meet them, because unfortunately everyone in the queue, they cut it off so you're not like stood there for ages and then you get to the front and then they can't. But we did see some people really disappointed because they couldn't, where they'd only just come at like 2:30, 2:45. So just prepare yourself for that. The queues are quite hectic, and with the virtual ones we didn't realise we'd go up to like the Princess Pavilion for example and ask if we could join the queue, but they said you have to do it on your app, and I think the time come out at 9:30 or 9:45 and 2 PM every day, and you literally had to be on there like 15 minutes before to try and get a space. It was crazy. I do think it had pros and cons to it. Like, it was good because you could go and do other stuff, go on ride and do loads of stuff while you're in the queue and you're not physically just stood there waiting. But then also it was so hard to get onto some of the queues sometimes. Like, we would go on there in the middle of the day like to try and get on. Like, we managed to get Nick Wilde at a whim because my mum looked on the app and they had space. Like, it is quite hard. So I would recommend knowing that before you go, because that's another thing that people didn't really know, and then it was a bit annoying and frustrating at times as well. But that one, definitely be aware of what characters you have to join the virtual queue for, and if you can just go and see them in real life, join half an hour early because it gets busy fast. I feel like that was a lot of rambling about meeting the characters and the Disney app, but my next tip is don't go and buy loads of water bottles out there, because the waters are like, I want to say like €3, something like that. So when you think you're buying it all the time, just don't do that. They have loads of water fountains around the park. They have one in the Land of Frozen, there was one in the Marvel Land, there was one in the main park, kind of by It's a Small World and the Peter Pan ride. Literally opposite the Peter Pan ride, I think, by the toilets, there was water fountains. So I'd recommend just to bring up a refillable water bottle, something like that, something where you can easily fill it up, because we didn't know that. We'd brought with us loads of bottles of water where we travelled in the car. We had loads of bottles of water, and then my dad was carrying them around all the time, where I do think it would just be easier to just bring a refillable water bottle and you know you can fill it up, because we were in like 30-degree heat, so it was good that we could just constantly have a flow of water and not worry about spending so much money on it or running out of the ones we brought in. So yeah, definitely just bring a refillable water bottle and you can fill it up around the park. That also leads me on to my next tip for you guys. Bring in your own snacks and drinks. Obviously bring in your own refillable water bottle, but if you want like a flavoured drink or anything, bring it in yourself, because obviously all those snacks and all those drinks do rack up to quite a lot. I think I paid €4.30 for a Mickey cookie, which was ridiculous. And if you're going with your family or your friends, you've got so many people and you're spending all of that money. So I do recommend just bringing in some snacks in your bag or something to eat, because you are allowed to do that, and it will just save you quite a few pennies, I would say, because it does get quite expensive. But obviously if you want to treat yourself in there, like we ate dinner in the park every night, and then I bought some snacks throughout the day because I wanted to be different and try some food, but we still had like snacks in our bag that we'd eat and everything like that, and it just did save a lot of money. So I'd recommend to do that, bring your own snacks in. My next bit of advice is for if you stay in one of the Disney hotels. So if you stay in a Disney resort hotel, you get an extra hour in the park in the morning. I'd 100% recommend to use it. It's quieter, a lot more people were getting photos in front of the castle because it wasn't as busy, and the ride queues aren't as long. We used it to go on Crush's Coaster because that queue is ridiculous, so using that extra magic hour we had time to go and do that, and it's a lot quieter, so then you've not got so many people. But that is only an option if you do stay in the Disney parks, but it's such a big help, I would say. So if you're staying, make sure you're aware of that rule. I think you get in from about 8:30, whereas the normal park opens at 9:30. So make use of that extra hour. It will really help. Another tip I have in regards to like rides and queues and stuff is in between, around like in the early evening, around like 6 onwards, the ride queues get a lot shorter because people would be having dinner, they might go back to their hotel, or they might just be getting a spot for the fireworks. So the queues for a lot of the rides drastically go down. I think one of the days we went on the Avengers ride and I think our queue was like 5 minutes long. So we literally just basically walked on. And then for the Tower of Terror, when I went on that, I don't even want to say it was 5 minutes. Like by the time you watch the video and go through everything, it did come up to like 5 minutes or longer. But it went super fast because everyone's not queuing for those rides, because I think everyone jam packs it in the day, that they don't realise that in the evening a bit is where you want to utilise that time, because you will get on so many rides, because it gets a lot quieter. So I'd recommend to stay around. If you're thinking, oh, I'll go back, stay out, even if it's just for one night of the trip, like stay out and use that time to get on as many rides as you can, because we managed to do quite a few. The next thing I'd recommend to do is go and watch at least one of the shows. They are so good. I think we watched nearly all of them, because we were there for so long, we had so much time. And we saw Mickey and the Magician, we saw the Pixar show in the Adventure World Park. What else did we see? We saw Minnie's Dream Factory, and they were so good. Like, I think people think they're going to be rubbish, but honestly they're so good. Like, I was sat there, I'm 20, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I was still so joyed by it all. It is something I would 100% recommend do, especially because we went in 30-degree heat, so sometimes we just wanted to be inside, and the rooms are air-conned, so it's nice and cool. You're out of the sun, or if it's raining, you're out of the rain. But for us, it was such a nice break to be out of the heat, because you're in the aircon, and it's such a good show as well. The one I would recommend to do if you only chose to do one would be the Mickey and the Magician. That one was so good. Or I'd recommend the Pixar one. The Minnie's Dreamhouse one was still good, and there was another one in the main park, but that was like a 3D thing. So I wouldn't necessarily say go and do that one if you only had time for one, but I would definitely say go and do Mickey and the Magician. It was incredible. Like, oh, it was just so good. I just wish I could go and relive it, but I think I put some clips in my vlog. I don't know what video it was. They all just feel like one because it was such a big long trip. But yeah, there are clips of the shows in some of my videos, so if you want a little sneak peek, if you're going and think, oh, is it worth it, watch that, because honestly, so good. Like, yeah, they're not just for children, they are worth the watch, 100%. Okay, my final bit of advice for you guys is probably a really obvious one, but I don't think you realise how much walking and standing you will do, but make sure you wear comfortable shoes. I wore my New Balances and I didn't regret one bit of it. They were so comfy, they were so easy to walk in. Like, if I was to go to Disney again, I would put them straight in my bag, because the amount of walking we did, I think one day we did 19,000 steps. I think that's when we were in the park for like 14 hours, because we used that magic hour and then stayed for the light show, which again, recommend at least seeing one of the shows. The one in the Adventure World Park we saw, and it was incredible. We've also got the fireworks. Just make sure you go and see one, because they are incredible. But anyway, back to the shoes. Definitely make sure you're wearing something comfortable, because you will be on your feet all day, even if it's just standing in the queues or walking from park to park or around the parks. You will do a lot of walking. I think every day we mainly did about 10,000 steps, so it is a lot, but it's so worth it. And yeah, I just recommend comfy shoes and comfy clothes. There's nothing worse than having like shorts that are too short and then your thighs are rubbing and you're uncomfortable. So just make sure you're comfy, and you'll be sorted, because you are there for a long time and you are also standing for a long time. So comfy trainers, recommend. I wore New Balances and they literally were amazing, so maybe I'd recommend New Balances. But whatever your comfy shoes are, pack them, because you're gonna need them. So that's all of my recommendations and top tips for if you are visiting Disneyland Paris. I hope it was somewhat helpful if you have got a trip planned in the future. If you have been before and you have any other tips that you think I missed out on, please leave them in the comments below so that we can help everyone out and make them have the best Disney trip ever. If you did want to see my trip to Disney, I did vlog it all, so it is all on my channel and it's all uploaded. And yeah, I think that's everything. I feel like I've done so much talking. My throat is in agony, but I hope that I've helped someone out here. So if I have, please let me know. But anyway, if you did like this video, please like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you on my next video. Bye.